Yo guys, it's Arid, the uninteresting cat dude that made that autism video 2 years ago. Well, today I'll be reacting to that video, and in doing so, compare and contrast the things I said to my more recent knowledge of autism through the community as well as my own experience. Now, back then, I was a junior in high school. Now I'm entering my sophomore year of university. We've gone through over a year of you know what, and I've changed a good deal from my 17-year-old self. Those are a few things to factor into my 2021 perspective. I don't want to make this intro too long, so let's just get right into it.
Hey guys, my name is Arid, and this is my very first video on this channel. Today I will be talking about the
I hate
presence
my
of the
voice, it's
autism
so
spectrum disorder,
terrible.
or AI.
Also, at the time, I just wasn't really something I had in mind. That we don't really use the puzzle piece symbol anymore. It's just something I've learned since then and come to understand. And
ASD in the furry fandom. I myself am an ASPI, as us with
okay, another thing, we don't really use that word anymore. That used to be like such a common term for people to use, but not really anymore. You never hear that term. When I first started looking into the autism community and self-advocacy and all that, a lot of people call themselves that word. Not so much these days. That's just something that's changed with time.
Asperger's syndrome, or high-functioning autism, like to call ourselves.
And also, functioning labels aren't really used anymore by the community.
I was diagnosed at age 3, but was unaware of my condition until 2 or 3 years ago. I'm still strongly convinced that there's a link between my condition and the reason I found the fandom in the first place.
Yeah, basically my dad, he's asleep right now, but he and my mom were just in this big disagreement on whether to tell me about this condition or not, and my mom really wanted me to know. My dad was so reluctant. He was so insistent that it be kept a secret. I was like, why, actually? But now I know, and I'm so glad I do. It was absolute hell before then, not knowing.
As well as some of my current involvement. Warning, the following section of the video.
Okay, I'm not gonna, for the sake of, for the sake of keeping it clean, I guess for the moment, I'm gonna skip over this. I basically talk about how Vor got me into the fandom and how I think, like, me having autism and, like, that whole shebang is what got me into the fandom and how it just progressed from there. I skipped to 409.
To keep it relatively clean, my autism out of nowhere decided to be attached to vor fantasy after seeing a vor scene on YouTube or something because, once again, quote from Wikipedia, quote, it could be motivated by a desire to merge with a powerful other or permanently escape loneliness.
Whether or not I really realized it, yeah.
To counter the social ineptitude, awkwardness, and isolation of us high-functioning autistics. Now that's my story. What about everyone else? What about those dumb know-nothing hashtag Team Pause people? Just kidding, I love you all.
Yeah, I was pretty opinionated. I was talking all about Vor and I proceeded to make fun of Team Pause. Also, yeah, this was still the first variant of my persona. It was a lot more white and a lot more, like, just not really, just the design was so unpolished. I'm so glad I've changed the design now. It looks so much neater.
Much of it may still have to do with fantasy. It may be sexual fantasy for reasons I won't discuss due to this being the safe for work portion of the video, but you should get it by now if you didn't skip over the not safe for work portion. But also the fantasy of being an animal. or in our case, an animal-human hybrid. And being a fun-loving, cute, cuddly fox or wolf or husky or kitty, yay, cats for life. However,
Cats
there's
for
more
life.
to it than just fantasy. Several times the fandom has been cited as the only way some people have been able to make friends, more times than not, because
Yeah, there was one video, didn't directly have to do with autism, but it was Vice or something, I don't remember, but yeah, there was one guy that said the furry fandom's the only reason he has friends.
they are able to express themselves and be themselves in a way that they were too anxious or socially awkward to before. Some will buy a fursuit to fulfill this, while others are able to do just fine without one. At Anthrocon 2013, a group of surveyors surveyed 820 attendees aged 18 and over on psychological conditions, whilst the results indicated that the percentage of furries with the other conditions in the survey were either lower or nearly equal to the percentage of the general population. The percentage of furries with ASD, mostly Asperger's in this case, based on the survey, was right around 4%, more than twice the percentage of the general population. Now, I personally have talked to many furries online around my age, and a surprising number have told me that they also have Asperger's.
And yeah, there have even been a few that I met directly through this video. I mean, it's creeping up on 2,000 views. I'm still getting comments, still having people telling me they found me through this video and made some good connections, and there's a lot of neurodivergence in this fandom, not just autism, but like even more so ADD, ADHD. Very prevalent.
The teenage and early adult years are a time where many are still trying to find themselves, and many of us Aspies strive to do this more than anyone else. The furry fandom is able to retain many of
Yeah, in a world that isn't really designed for us. It's hard. Sometimes we have to go to unconventional paths in order to do that sort of thing.
us because it's a great place to reach out to, as there are so many supportive people here that are willing to help out with any problems people might have and with their lives in general.
Yeah, thankfully, we're thankful that we do have people like that, and I do have some friends that are like that, but just unfortunately there are still a lot of people that are just so judgmental, so just dismissive of everyone that's not like them. Just, yeah.
Us Aspies also suffer from depression, myself included, a good deal more than those without the condition or neurotypicals.
Well, I think what I mean to say is that we're just more susceptible to it just because of the amount of rejection and all that, and like not fitting in, and like feeling just not really up to the expectations of society,
As they're often dubbed. Whether it be over isolation, oversensitivity, or whatever, while it is true
Yep.
that some aspects of the fandom may be a source of some of this depression, there are still many great people here to help us get through our tough times. Although I suffer from depression myself, I'm always open to try to help people out with theirs, although my level of success with such varies.
Yeah, I'm not always. The thing is, like, it's also, I try to be empathetic, but it just doesn't usually come naturally. That's the thing, like, and that's another autism thing. That's the stereotype that we just have no empathy. That's not necessarily true that we have absolutely none. It's just it doesn't come naturally. It's a little bit more difficult for us to fit in other people's shoes in that regard, but doesn't mean we aren't trying. That's what some people just don't understand, and that's why there's so much stigma, and people just assume, oh, we don't care, and that we're just trying to be rude or ignorant, when it just doesn't come naturally. Just people need to understand that.
So in conclusion, this fandom easily attracts just about any aspie that isn't already anti-furry or just against or
Just about
uninterested in
any, I
some.
mean, not necessarily. Some people just aren't necessarily turned off by it, but just it's just not their thing. I mean, depending on the kind of person you are, you might just, yeah, it just depends on the person. Some people are really attracted to it, some people not so.
Of what it has to offer. It satisfies sexual, social, and psychological interest in a way it never would otherwise be satisfied. Overall, it just seems like the perfect fit for someone like me for the reasons discussed in this video. If you'd like to
I'm starting to see why this got as many views as it did. I actually explained some things pretty well. Some of it, like, I have a little bit of a hard time keeping my voice straight, and like I've just never been really good at speaking. Like even now, it just takes me a little bit of time to think of words sometimes, and whatever comes out sometimes, and I've gotten better at it. I can tell just from the way I'm speaking now, I've gotten better at it since 2 years ago. But yeah.
To get to know more about Asperger's syndrome, I highly recommend two YouTubers to watch. Max Sterrett has a series of videos titled The Truth About
Great
Asperger's
series,
Syndrome,
absolutely great series,
which goes
love it.
into
I've watched these videos so many times over just so I can just like ingrain in my mind, and just so I know that I really do have something to relate to. They're just so well explained, and so just I love it. He doesn't really make a whole lot of autism content now. He does mostly gaming, but sometimes he still does, and he does like mental health call-ins, which he just had one I think yesterday, but I missed it yesterday as of when I'm recording this, which is Thursday the 24th, so he did it on Wednesday the 23rd of June.
But very understandable detail of the struggles those of us with the syndrome face. I found it awesome while watching this series, not only being able to relate to so much of what he talked about, but also how much I was able to learn about myself and the syndrome. Max also co-hosts a podcast every Wednesday evening called The Differently Wired Show, where he and his co-hosts discuss these same sorts of issues, answer questions viewers have for them, and even chat with some viewers live. The other YouTuber I recommend watching is The Aspie World.
This guy I don't really watch a whole lot.
Makes fairly similar videos addressing the struggles of Asperger's syndrome, as well as ways to cope with these struggles.
It's just not really a fan of the style of video he does, and it just seems like a lot of his videos are about like the exact same sort of stuff, and it's, I don't know. I don't really watch him much. I mean, I watch him occasionally, but just I'm not so inspired by his videos in the way I am by Max's. It's just, yeah.
I had more or less the same reaction to his videos.
Oh, I beg to differ. 2 years later, I beg to differ. I'm just not inspired in the same way by this guy's videos anymore. Maybe when I first found the channel I was, but now it's just like, I don't know, a lot of his videos are about the same old stuff, and it's like stuff I've already figured out, and yeah.
Thanks for watching my very first video on this channel. If any of you noticed any inaccurate or incomplete information, please let me know.
Like my future self.
And I may be able to edit in corrections, or
just make a brand new reaction video 2 years later. How about that?
Even re-upload the video entirely.
Ooh, that's a wonderful idea. I'm totally not doing that right now.
I have a gaming channel, a Twitter, a Discord server, and a Telegram chat, all of which are in the description. Have a wonderful day, everyone.
I just hit 1,000 followers on Twitter. I've been sitting at 1900 for Lord knows how long. Anyway, yep. I think I explained things pretty well. Of course, some things have changed. I figure out new things. My perspectives changed. Of course, the community's changed. We no longer use certain symbols and certain labels that we used to. And yeah, that's pretty much all I've got. So anyway, thanks for watching, and hopefully I'll come up with more ideas on videos like this one to make, and hopefully I'll have the time and space to actually record them. I really hope, but either way, I'll see you guys on the flip side. Ciao.